Hello, Charlie. I am 19 years old and I'm engaged to the love of my life and my best
Amazing.
friend.
Give it up for you. That's incredible.
So we met in church and we've been together for 4 years now. I wanted to know what your advice is for criticism from others outside.
In this video, young people ask Charlie Kirk honest questions about marriage, family, and faith. Charlie explains how he and his wife keep their relationship centered on God through Sabbath rest, prayer, church, and shared spiritual habits. And he emphasizes the man's responsibility to lead his family in faith. He then addresses concerns about today's difficult economic climate and how it affects young people who want to start families. Finally, a 19-year-old engaged woman asks about criticism for marrying young. Charlie encourages her, defends early marriage, and offers practical premarital advice about understanding each other's values, habits, finances, and backgrounds. This video brings together real questions and Charlie's guidance for building strong, faith-focused families.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Delaney. I'm from Turner, Maine, and I'm someone who, my biggest goal in life is marriage. Like anything else, I want to be a mom so much. I wanted to know how you and Erica keep a God-centered marriage and a healthy marriage.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, by the way, if you want to get married as your top priority, then the chances are you will. What you make your top priority in life, you likely hit. You think about it. For a lot of young people, their top priority is just to feel good. They make it happen. It's amazing. We are creatures designed by God to have to aim at something, to have a destination, to have purpose. For us, so I'm actually writing a book about this. I'm a big believer in it. I think that everyone here should do this, which is I honor the Sabbath every week. And I encourage everyone to do this. Turn off your phone for 1 day a week. The world will keep on turning and you will be happier. What that has meant for our marriage, by honoring the Sabbath, it makes it easier to spend time with the kids, to go to church, to be with one another, and to kind of have a holy covering around that. And so I encourage all of you guys, you are not so important where you have to have your phone on every single day. Pick 1 day a week. For us, it's Friday night to Sunday morning. I turn my phone off completely. I'm unreachable by the outside world. My mind gets clarified. My body feels better. I'm not going down checking for notifications all the time. And so that's one of the ways we do it. And secondly, it's through spiritual disciplines. My wife and I pray together. We fast together. We go to church together. And men, let me tell you something that you will never forget. When you get married, it is your biblical obligation to bring your family to church on a regular basis. That is the man's role. Now, let me tell you, when you do not do that, and the mom brings the kids to church, that's still okay. But studies show that if the mom only brings the kids to church, the likelihood of the kids falling in the faith is very low. But if the dad brings the kids to church, the likelihood is extremely high. I'm sure a lot of you were raised in families where the mom was very religious and the dad was meh. Who here can resonate with that? Raise your hand. A lot of hands go up. Men, don't create that family for yourself. I know that, you want to sleep in or, you want to watch a football game. Get your act together, bring your wife, bring your kids, and bring them to church. That sets an example for your kids that you value God over comfort. It's a very, very important truth. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Charlie. My name is Yazlam. I'm from Texas. I am studying both business and Christian studies. As someone whose deepest desire is to be a wife and a mom and raise a biblical family, do you believe that the current economic climate in the U.S. will realistically support that lifestyle for future generations?
No, that's a great question. It's hard to hear you, but I think you're saying, does the current economic climate support family formation? Is that correct?
Yeah, for future generations. Do you think that's
right now it does not, and this is something I hope President Trump really fixes. It is harder than ever to own a home, harder than ever to afford basic necessities. By the way, just so we are clear, this is not an excuse not to have kids. Even if you don't have the money to have the kids, you should still have kids. It's never a reason not to bring new souls into this world. It might be hard, it might be difficult, there might be some challenges, but it will develop your character. We need to make it easier to be able to own homes. We need to, first and foremost, we need to deport about 20 million people in this country that are here unnecessarily. Secondly, we need to make it easier to own homes. We need to build like 10 million homes. The American dream that your parents experienced is increasingly out of reach for many of you. This is why President Trump won, and it's time that we actually fulfill that mandate. It is harder than ever to support a family of 4 in this country. In 1985, you could support a family of 4 with about 35 weeks of labor. One husband or one father. Now it requires 60 weeks of labor, so the wife has to go into the workforce. People say, Charlie, what does success look like? If I was running the whole operation, it would be one very simple goal. You ready? I want a country where the mom does not have to go work if she does not want to go work. It's that simple. If she wants to go work, great, fine, terrific. No, I mean that. Like, some people make it work, but I think you all in this audience know there's something cruel and unusual for a mom of a 9-month-old that has to give over that 9-month-old to strangers to go work at some stupid dead-end job as like an administrator. Nothing against her. She's got to do what she's got to do. There's something wrong about that. There's something disordered about that. There's something cruel and unusual. Here's my 9-month-old baby daycare. And by the way, if you use daycare, that's fine. I'm not criticizing you. But I think deep down, most moms sob inside when they drive to daycare, wishing they could actually raise their kids all day long, but the economics are messing it up. And let me just say one last thing to the men. For men out there, this will not apply to all of you, because some of you guys might end up being police officers or firefighters or join the military, and God bless you for that. We need more people to do that. I mean that. However, men, you need, early on in life, to do whatever it takes to try, if it makes working 2 jobs, not sleeping, going through the night, that during that precious period of time, you can literally buy your wife to be able to stay at home. We as men should do everything humanly possible to make that happen. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Charlie. I am 19 years old, and I'm engaged to the love of my life and my best
Amazing.
friend.
Give it up for you. That's incredible.
So we met in church, and we've been together for 4 years now. I wanted to know what your advice is for criticism from others outside of the church, even criticism in the church for being engaged and getting married so young.
This is so amazing. So what denomination are you?
We're non-denominational.
Yeah, just to be clear, again, I'm not Catholic. I have big problems with Catholicism, but I have incredible respect for Catholicism, like more so than almost most evangelicals. There would not be, I think, a single Catholic diocese that would criticize a 19-year-old for getting married. Like, what is wrong with us evangelicals that someone would dare criticize a 19-year-old for getting married? Shame on us as evangelicals who do that. It's disgusting, actually. Disgusting, right? So I want you to think about this. Here's a young lady at 19, and I pray your marriage works out and lasts long. And you need to work at that. I'll give you some advice on that, right? But they're like, oh, you're too young. So here's a young lady that's rejecting hookup culture. She's rejecting kind of aimless promiscuity. She wants to have children, I'm imagining, right? And she's doing it at a young, appropriate age, and you receive criticism by doing that. You know what that goes to show? The American evangelical church has been infected by modernity and feminism, and that needs to be completely collapsed and rebuilt in a biblical image. It's repulsive. And it doesn't surprise me, because so much American Christianity, again, this is why so many kids are becoming Catholic. I'm trying to tell evangelicals, I'm like, it's happening fast. Again, I have deep respect for Catholicism, and I get it. I understand it. Again, I'm not Catholic, but I think Catholicism has done a lot of good for the world and continues to. But one of the reasons why is that our American evangelical churches have become so socially liberal. And this is an example. The criticism, tune it out. You serve one entity, and that is God and God Almighty. You don't serve man. You don't serve their approval. You serve God. Now, let me give you some piece of advice. You need to do premarital counseling. I hope you are. But I'm gonna write a book. I got a couple books. I got the Sabbath book, and then the next book I'm gonna write is 100 questions that you need to answer before you get married. And people are really excited about this, right? So let me give you a couple. Are you ready? Okay. I hope you know this. You need to know first your own nature. Are you introverted or extroverted? And then you need to know your spouse's nature. Are they introverted or extroverted? You need to ask another question. I've got 100 of them. Another really good one. Were they raised, this is one that almost no one ever asks. Were they raised in a home that was open or closed? How many of you were raised in a closed home? No friends over, very quiet nights. You know what I'm talking about, right? Parents were like, don't ever bring anyone over without permission. You do a barbecue once a decade. You know what I'm talking about? Now, how many of you were raised in an open home, which was like full house, everyone comes on over, you know what I'm talking? Now imagine you're about to get married to someone that was raised in an open home and you were raised in a closed home, right? Disaster. They're gonna just start inviting people over, you're a party, you're not used to that. You're like, wait, no, the home is sacred. No, the home is open, the home is fun, and that creates a ton of tension. Here's a big one. Who's gonna control the money? Do a sample budget for 3 years. What's an acceptable amount of debt? Who gets the credit cards? Who pays off the credit cards? How often are you gonna vacation? Here's another one that no one talks about. What types of vacation? For example, I think cruises are no different than Gitmo. Like, I think cruises are awful. Do you agree? People can boo me? Do you guys agree? No? That's fine. I'm not marrying you, so I don't care. So I don't seek to appease your weird love of being seasick for 8 days and eating food that gives you food seasickness and a bunch of people fighting in the pool. Like, what is that's a vacation? Like, I mean, I think cruises are disgusting. But anyway, some people love cruises. And they want, like, for them, it's big. You don't have to worry about anything. Everything's taken care of. And I get that. It's fine. It's not how I'm wired. So you have to figure out what type of vacations. Here's the biggest one that almost never gets discussed because it's taboo. You need to say, honey, what vices are you currently struggling with, public and private, and what will be acceptable vices in our marriage? It's better to find out now if you're struggling with pornography than later, because you can figure that out. You can have sympathy for it. People don't talk about, oh, my husband doesn't watch pornography. He maybe does, he maybe doesn't, but you should confront that. Or what will be acceptable vices? Will it be okay to drink in the home? How often will drinking be tolerated? If 1 drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks, drinking on weeknights, drinking on weekends? How about this? How early are we gonna wake up? Are you a sleeper in or are you an early riser, right? Other things. Is it okay to smoke marijuana? Are we gonna have dessert a lot? Are we gonna be okay to kind of just be a slovenly couple, or do we really wanna care about our fitness and how we look? This is important stuff that you think you probably know about your spouse that you don't. That needs to be said audibly and written down, and a third party needs to coach you through that. And all of a sudden, they'll say this and he'll be like, oh yeah, it's perfectly fine that I smoke a cigar. You smoke a cigar? Big, right? And so you go through that early and you figure out some framework, because here's the key. Premarital counseling will give you the framework to refer to when things start to fall apart, because they will. And if you didn't do that premarital work, there's no framework and everyone acts surprised. And the other one, which I think is really important, does your spouse have male friends? If you are marrying a man and he does not have close male friends, that is a red flag. I'm not trying to break up your marriage, by the way, but it is critical if a man does not, and then meet his friends. And for men out there, same with your future wife. Does she have close female friends, and meet her friends? Because let me tell you right now, when things go bad, she's gonna start spending time with her friends, and you wanna know who they are and what their character is. Final point. This is more for men than it is for women. Men, you are marrying your future mother-in-law. The mom becomes the mother more times than not. Make sure you get to know the mother, who she is, how she acts, gets along with her, and if not, be like, is that who I would eventually want to be with 20 or 30 years from now? My mother-in-law is like the greatest person ever. She's an angel. It's a lot of advice. I don't remember your question, but I wish you well on your marriage, and God bless you. So thank you.
Thank you.